Sticking with the same theme of LinkedIn, just yesterday, LinkedIn released some algorithm tips, which very much do focus LinkedIn's purpose on moving towards knowledge sharing and insight. Now, LinkedIn has been going this way over the last couple of years, particularly post-COVID. But I think these new algorithm changes really do reinforce the fact that if you're on LinkedIn and you want visibility, you have to be sharing valuable content to people. So let's talk a little bit more about how knowledge and insight can really help increase visibility on the platform. So the algorithm updates, which were announced just this week, are a response to a lot of user feedback that LinkedIn has been receiving over the recent years, that there is too much irrelevant and non-professional content now flooding feeds on the platform. And I would be inclined to agree. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, but I think post-COVID, we have seen an influx of more Facebook style content, much more kind of, this is what I get up to at the weekend, or here's some pictures of my family. There's been a big merge of work and personal life content on the platform. And these are just some examples of posts that have been spotted over the last kind of year or so on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn's algorithm looked to amplify the most engaging posts and repost the viral content from other platforms, then basically feeds were beginning to be flooded with this style of content, which a lot of LinkedIn members feel quite angry about, because LinkedIn is meant to be the professional platform. That's its USP, and that's why people do tend to use LinkedIn over something like Facebook or Instagram. So LinkedIn has decided to update its algorithm, and the main updates that we're beginning to see is that LinkedIn is prioritizing content from your first degree connections. So when you log into LinkedIn now and you look through your newsfeed, you're most likely to see content from people who you are already connected to. So that is a big change, because previous to that, a lot of content was being fed in that was maybe second level connections, or perhaps just people who were talking about topics that you were maybe following hashtags for. So LinkedIn says that users regularly tell them that the most valuable content comes from people they know. So users are now going to see more updates from direct connections and users that they follow. So if you are a creator profile and you are looking to attract more followers, don't worry, the updates are still going to help your content get seen in the newsfeed. So LinkedIn is also looking to really highlight expert content and advice. And this is something that has been happening over the last few years, but this is probably the most official update that LinkedIn has made that will really start to make sure we are seeing content that is relevant to our specific interests on the platform. So the system is now looking to identify each user's interests. This will be based on your profile information, what you click on, what you engage with, what you watch. And if other members within your niche are engaging with your posts, that's a very strong signal that you're sharing material that people are finding relevant and valuable. So the first thing is, you want to make sure that you are sharing relevant content to your niche. That's really, really important. And secondly, that you're able to build engagement from relevant people within your niche. So that would be likes, comments, reactions, shares, saves. More in-depth replies and conversation will also help to improve your reach. So we'll talk about that in just a moment, but here are some examples from two people that I follow on LinkedIn that I really rate if you're looking to follow marketing and social media up-to-date advice. On the left, we've got Mark Ritson, who I'm sure many of you follow already, who is a prolific media commentator and marketing professor. He shares probably 1 or 2 really in-depth updates every week on the platform, and starts some very relevant debates and discussions around what's happening in the world of marketing. And over on the right is Sophie Miller, founder of Pretty Little Marketer, who I think shares some really interesting case studies. You know, everybody is talking about Barbie at the moment. I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job of building hype ahead of the film's release. And the latest thing they've done is, of course, put the Barbie Malibu Dream House on Airbnb, which I think was a fantastic digital campaign and has definitely grabbed tons of headlines. This Barbie Dream House seems to be in all my feeds at the moment. So I'm sure the movie is going to perform incredibly well this summer. So they are 2 people that I think share some really interesting, valuable, up-to-date and relevant content for their niches. And the other thing is that they respond to all of the comments on their posts. And are really good at responding with not just kind of one word, you know, thanks for the comment, replies, but moving that conversation on and, you know, building on that conversation by asking more questions. And that is what the algorithm also wants to see. So you can see here that Matt Navarra, who again is another fantastic person to follow on LinkedIn for social media industry updates. And he shared this LinkedIn algorithm news this week. Somebody posted, thanks for sharing, in the comments, and he said, this comment won't be ranked well by LinkedIn's algorithm because this is exactly the sort of comment that LinkedIn doesn't really want to see, that carbon copy, thanks for sharing, generic terminology. They would rather see, you know, a thoughtful response, something that is a little unique, and something that Matt then responds to back. So thinking about this, not only for your personal brand, but also for your company pages. If you are thinking about increasing engagement on your company page on LinkedIn, I would really suggest responding to every comment, trying to move the conversation forward as well. And of course, trying to generate as much engagement from people who are within your niche. Finally, the more you share on LinkedIn, the better. LinkedIn will theoretically be able to understand more about who you are, what you do, and who wants to see your posts, the more content you feed it. I've seen a lot of people sharing updates recently on LinkedIn about how they've hacked the system, you know, hacked the algorithm, and what they've managed to achieve over 6 weeks of posting consistently. And the tip that I see people share more than anything on LinkedIn is post regularly. So try and get something fresh out there on LinkedIn, ideally daily if you can, but I know that is really, really hard. I certainly don't manage to hit that, but being able to share some insight, a news story, a case study, a photo, I think that would be a really good way of approaching LinkedIn. If you want to know more, then do check out the Social Media Today article, which shared all of this just yesterday. I'm going to pop that in the chat now. So look out for that link where you can find out a bit more about this update.